There's no script here. Maybe half an hour ago, someone gave me the opportunity to make a short film and put it on the internet. A technology that's never available to me usually. And I just seized the chance. I don't even know what I'm going to speak about. Horror. I spent a lot of time in these last holy nights of Christmas being with the horror of this world. And it seems to me that that's a very healthy thing. It actually feels to me like it's a grace of God that's been given to me. For years, I've had this inner battle in myself. I've had this mounting sense of horror. And I've asked myself, am I just being dramatic? How can any human being evaluate what the world is really like? All the incredible beauty in this world. All the incredible horror. If we hold only the beauty and forget the horror, we lose compassion. If we hold only the horror and forget the greatness of God, the greatness of beauty, we become morose, depressed. It's necessary to hold both. But it seems to me that with the grace of God, I'm being allowed to hold more of the horror. I'm in a European city at the moment. I feel so much tension, so much stress here. I feel a way of life that I want to say that it's very American, that Europe becomes ever more Americanized. But I don't really think the problem is America. I think evil is working in all kinds of very subtle ways that we don't speak usually about. We speak about the evil of Hitler or Mao or Stalin, but we don't speak so much about evil working through mediocrity. We don't speak about evil working to confine people in tiny little confined existences where they become slaves to a mediocre and shallow life. We don't speak so much about evil working through all kinds of world currents which hypnotize us, that rob us of the capacity to be really still. More and more, I feel the need to just create stillness. Stillness where we can be, where I can be, very recollected. The heart of Christ. One thing, a healthy sense of horror brings one to, if one is a Christian, is a sense of deepening and deepening and deepening gratitude, awe, reverence. Words completely fail. Reverence. For our Lord. At least I am grateful that this force that sounds so impersonal, to be impersonal is not to be Christian. That in the center of our world exists a beating heart, a heart ready to vitalize us. These words are not born from as deep a stillness as they could be born from. I feel the horror. I feel the grace of horror. So much New Age thought is about feel good. And indeed, it's very important to feel good when we are faced with beauty. But right now, we're in this world, you and me, surrounded by countless forms of horror and suffering. More and more, I feel asked to keep holding that. Not to become depressed, not to become morose, but not to forget it. And to somehow feel it. It's one thing to say in an intellectual way, well, there are millions of children dying right now. But if my own child or your own child were dying in your own arms, that would be an entirely different thing. I find it useful to contemplate the difference between those two forms of cognition and awareness, where the head can say, well, of course, there's all kinds of suffering in this world. And then a form of contemplation where it's no longer a head process. And it feels as though through the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, I'm being given the grace of feeling the horror more and more deeply. In these holy nights, this is January the 4th, 2008, I've had the privilege of spending many of these holy nights since Christmas in part1 in France, the city of the Sacred Heart of Christ, and feeling that presence more and more deeply. And I think my time for this little experiment is over. So, I'm going to stop there. Okay, Mary. Oh.